Okay, so this is a workflow I'm trying to build, and I'm a little embarrassed by it. It's not fantastic, but what it does is in Elevenlabs, I can have a call, and then this workflow picks up the transcript of the call, and then it like parses it out. It evaluates information from the transcript and puts it into this Google sheet. And so the I guess the premise, the idea behind this is I want to be able to have numerous calls, or for people to have numerous calls with an Elevenlabs voice agent, and then for an evaluation of that call to happen and collect that data, that evaluation data in this Google sheet. And let me show you what's well. First, Alex, how does this go? What do you want me to click on here?
Yeah, so what's calling the webhook there?
Click into it to show you. So on post, when Elevenlabs call finishes, that's what I want to trigger this webhook to pull in the call transcript.
Okay, so okay, let's see. All right.
And then, do you want to see the next step?
Yeah.
So then the next step is it goes into here. I can expand this if you want to see what the prompt is.
Yeah. And can you close on the left where the webhook is, close the headers information? Because you're not going to use the headers. No, open that back up. Close the header. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't even know you could do that.
Yeah, scroll down. Scroll down a bit. Okay, stop where the transcript is.
Here.
Go up.
Like that?
No. Go up. Go up. Go up. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. Okay, stop right there. So you're pulling in the entire array of transcript information. Is that what you actually need?
That's a good question. So I noticed that there's a lot of garbage that comes in with that transcript, a lot of information that is more than just a conversation.
Yeah.
And
You're overloading the LLM with garbage.
Yeah. Wow.
So,
yes. How do I not do that?
so what I would do is go back out from here as a first step, and then go back out to the canvas. And then right between the webhook and the AI agent, I would put a code node in here of some sort. And then, right there, JavaScript. So here is where I would take the JSON from the transcript array from the webhook call. So if you click on JSON instead of table, go to the right, right there, and then scroll down until you get to the transcript array right there. Stop, click on transcript, and it'll highlight that entire array. And then now go to that little copy icon.
Little copy icon. You want me to right click or something?
Okay, so yes, and then click on that, and then say copy selection. Now you have the JSON for just the transcript. And here's where I would go to ChatGPT or Claude and say, this is my incoming JSON, and I need a code node to parse just the messages. I think it's the messages. If you can scroll up, go back, Jason, go back. Before you go into that, scroll down here so that we can see.
In here or here?
In the JSON, scroll down. Look to the left. Yeah, scroll down. Okay, stop. Go a little bit more, sorry. A little bit more. Okay, so what you need to tell the AI is, say, here's my incoming JSON, which is the transcript array, right?
Yeah.
And you're going to tell ChatGPT to say, hey, I need to just pull the messages from this array and parse just the messages so that I can analyze the message data from the transcript array.
There's a few other bits of information I'm
Oh,
looking.
there is. Okay. So whatever you need to capture, that's what you're going to instruct the AI to give you a code node to parse that data. And the reason you're giving it that JSON is so that the AI, ChatGPT, in your case, understands the exact JSON that it needs to parse.
That's above my head. Can I show
Okay.
you a bit more and then we could do it?
Yeah. So let's do this step. So you've copied the JSON. Now go to the next tab you just opened, which is ChatGPT.
Sure.
Now you say paste that JSON in, right? And then yeah, add a few lines before the JSON.
Yeah.
Yeah, and say
Maybe I start with just the few lines before and then I can
sure.
paste it
Okay.
after.
Yeah. It's just yeah. Okay.
All right.
Say this is the incoming JSON for an n8n webhook call. The next line, I need to parse just the messages and what else? What do you need to parse?
Let me show you.
Well, you can just type it in if you already know.
It's a bunch of information. So I want to open this this spreadsheet if I can get the link from here. Is there a way I can just see
The name? No. Go back to parameters. Stay in parameters. Oh no, open up that node. Open up that node. Go to, okay, stop. And then go down to the sheet name. Now to the right. Click on that little open pop window open. Yeah, there.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you.
Yeah.
So the other details I want, I don't necessarily need agent ID. I want conversation ID. I want the time that the call happened, the amount of time that the call took place. So if it was 1 minute or 5 minutes. So I think here I'm getting the timestamp. This is when the call happened, but I don't understand this format.
That's a formatting issue. Okay, so but some of that
Call duration. So I need these 4 things.
So that's all included in the JSON, right? The incoming webhook JSON.
Yeah.
That doesn't need to be reparsed, but if you go back to the workflow and you go back to the canvas, so the call performance evaluator right there, the AI agent,
Yeah.
it just needs the messages data. You don't need to give it the time, the duration, etc., right? Or does it need that?
I don't know. It's not evaluating that information, but I
Right.
need that information to somehow get spit out when it's here.
So correct. So let's first address the ChatGPT item. So
Okay.
let's go back to ChatGPT and say I need to parse just the messages so that the next node, which is an AI agent to evaluate the call performance, can just process the messages portion of the JSON. Okay, now next, so now paste in give it some new line. Yeah. So now let's process this. Yeah, so now this is going to give you the JSON or the JavaScript for that code node. So let's copy that JavaScript right there. And then, yep.
And then delete all this.
Yeah, you don't need just overwrite all that.
Okay.
Then let's execute that step and see if it actually processes it properly. You've pinned this data, right? Yeah, okay. That did not work. Okay, our instruction to ChatGPT must not have been very good. Okay, let me see.
There's an option too.
No, we want to parse it, but okay. The goal here is to give the code node, so maybe in the next messages, the code node did not output any results.
It didn't what?
Did not output any results.
Okay. I've had this happen before.
Oh, really? Yeah,
Well, oftentimes for me, because I'm new to n8n and it's unfamiliar to me, I'm like a switchboard operator from the 50s, going back and forth between ChatGPT asking for things to help troubleshoot, and then it gives me something. I try it doesn't work, and then I tell it didn't work. Try again.
I do that all the time, by the way. That's very common in working with some of these workflows.
That makes me feel better.
Yeah, however, I stopped using OpenAI.
Yeah.
Completely. So I only use Claude at this time.
You're having better luck with Claude.
Yeah. Okay, so this gave a better code node. Let's try that.
Okay.
Oops. Did it not process yet? Just doing something.
So it's a lot of processing power here for this code node.
Still didn't, huh?
Well, it hasn't finished. I don't know what it's
Oh,
doing.
still running. Okay.
It shouldn't take this long to run.
Yeah, I didn't think the JSON was that big. Did the ChatGPT not understand the JSON? Maybe you need to be more explicit in which message it's trying to pull from. So if you go back to your n8n and then look at your webhook data, go down a little bit until you hit the, oh no, yeah.
This or in the code node?
Yes, stay in that window. Don't leave that window.
Oh, sorry. All right, I'll stay in the code.
Yeah, scroll down on the webhook, the left side, scroll down. Okay, so go back up, So here, no, a little bit further. Go up, go. Oh, stop right there. So I would like copy the message right there where it says, "Hi, this is Jason." So copy that all the way up to the transcript info. So select that up to the transcript. No, too far, Jason. To the transcript.
Oh, I see. I had up to here. All right.
To the transcript. Yeah, right there. Copy that. Then let's go back to ChatGPT and say, this is the example message that I am trying to parse. Yeah, let's see if that helps. Okay, yeah, maybe I think that might be a better. It looks a little bit better. You can stop this
Where do I stop it?
canvas. Yeah.
Great.
try running that again. And if we can't get it, this is where you're going to have to experiment a bit, Jason.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
I totally understand. It's just that this feels very familiar. At this point, I might even just ask the n8n AI if it can do it.
It probably could, especially for a single request like that. Yeah, something is not something is not working.
All right, I'm gonna exit out of this.
Yeah, let's
Stop
stop
it.
that. And then, so you
I'm
can
gonna
go back to that
I'm
after
gonna
our call.
refresh for a moment.
No,
Just I found that works. Oh no, no, I can't because I didn't save it.
Yeah, you gotta save it, otherwise you can lose it.
Yeah, so I save it.
I let's skip this code part because you'll figure that out after our call.
All right.
So let's look at the AI agent. Yeah. So now here, because you now have a code node right before this, you're gonna have to change that expression for the transcript. And so whatever output the JSON or whatever the JSON looks like right before this with the code node, you're gonna have to update that. And I'm assuming you're happy with this prompt. So
I think
now
that
you
prompt
get
is good for right now. But something that I need to hook in is a RAG, and I signed up for Pinecone yesterday and started attaching files to it. How can I make this? I realize, like, I believe that through here, through memory, I'll be attaching the Pinecone node.
Yeah, there's actually an easier way to do this now.
Oh yeah,
especially since you're using OpenAI. All right, so let me show you how to do that.
Oh, I just want to let you know as well. I have a hard stop at 11. I got another meeting, so
Okay.
I'll have to leave early. But I really appreciate the help so far. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, so let me share my screen because
Sure.
this is a little bit different. Okay, so can you guys see my screen?
Yeah.
Okay, so you have your AI agent. Oops, shoot, sorry. You have your AI agent here, right? And we're gonna not, sorry, this is not, we don't want to use a chat. Okay, test. So now with your OpenAI model, what you can do here is you can now add web search and file search,
No way.
which is the response API from OpenAI. So this means that now you have a built-in web search right out of the gate. So you get some filters for the web search. We'll turn that off because in your case, this is about the file search, right? Where
Yeah.
if you upload a file using the OpenAI embedding tool or directly from the developer interface for OpenAI, right? Now you can reference those files directly here.
I've not done that. So there's a place you're saying when I'm logged into just OpenAI where I'm paying for my API access. That
Yeah, the developer interface where the playground stuff is.
Yeah.
There should be a place where you can upload files. And here in this, you can now reference that vector store ID. So basically you're now, you don't need an external vector database if you don't want to. Make
Cool.
life easier, right?
Yeah.
So now if you upload those files into OpenAI, you just need that ID. And for whatever you're building here in this call evaluator, just reference those few files via the ID, and now it's all available to you.
So in between those two hard brackets, I would just put in the number or letter, whatever the long ID is.
Yeah. You'll figure out the formatting for that ID JSON here, right?
Yeah.
Now we have an array of vector IDs for those assets that you've uploaded, but I'm just wanting to show you that now you don't have to go to an external vector database if you don't want to, especially when you only have a few files, right? Where it's like, oh God, now
it's like 3 or 4 files.
Yeah, so now you don't, Pinecone, Weaviate, whatever vector data, like Now you don't have to set all that up now, especially if you're just using OpenAI. Upload a few files and they're available to you now via the response API.
That's so cool. Have you opened that to look at
This is
what it's
this is
set up
new.
with?
This is fairly new. I just found out about it as well.
Thank you.
I
Thank you.
haven't
My
I
hope is
haven't
it's like
actually
a folder and I can just drop the files in and then it'll
exactly.
give me the one ID
Yeah.
and it'll know all those files rather than me doing an individual ID for every single file.
Yeah, and I'm sure I haven't done it yet, but I'm sure there's a way we can even automate, like continuously monitor a Google Drive, right, folder, and any
Yeah.
new file in that folder, just upload it to the OpenAI file uploader or whatever it is called.
Can you show me how you got to that again? It was in the OpenAI chat model, right?
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, so you now have built-in tools in the OpenAI chat model.
How do mine doesn't have that. Mine has
Ew, because
options. So
you're
like, what do I click on? Do I need to
so now
update
you need to
the again?
update your n8n here using the admin panel.
All right, let me go to
And
admin panel.
just
And
just update it to the latest beta or its latest stable, just to make sure that you have all these features available to you.
well, I've never had to update it before. So I just now
Oh,
I clicked on that screen. What do I click on next? If you go to admin panel, what do you do next?
go to manage
Manage. Yeah.
and update to the right. Update your instance in the right.
Restart workspace, delete account. I don't see that. Let me show you my screen.
Yeah, here I'm going to the dashboard. So you hit manage here
Yep.
and you change your version right here, n8n version.
Oh, so latest beta.
Or stable, it's up to you. I mean,
Okay,
I always go to the beta because this is my cloud instance is my beta testing playground. So
oh, well, after I click latest, then I just save changes and I'm good. Update
right.
and restart.
Yeah, it'll upgrade your entire instance to the latest version, and then
Unbelievable.
you'll have all these nifty little new tools.
That's so cool. Thank you.
Yeah. Yep. All right. Well, so play around with ChatGPT and that code node to get the right, so that it'll help you parse out that data, and then in the sheet uploader, you just, for all of that other extra data, you just need to reference back to the data from the webhook and include that as you update the Google Sheet.
Well,
Like
I'll sure try.
yeah, and then the date formatting, what you want to say to ChatGPT is, hey, this is my current format, but I need it to be formatted, year, month, day with time, hour, minute, PM or AM. So you just give it the format you want and it'll help you figure that out.
Thank
It's
you. I have one last question. Then I'll stop. Someone else can ask questions.
yeah.
But my last question is, what's your workflow for permitting mistakes and knowing when to save? Like sometimes I'm engaging with the AI feature in n8n and it doesn't do the thing the way I wanted it to. And then I feel like sometimes I'm taking 2 steps or 3 steps backwards. I'd like just to understand what a workflow is like for somebody who experiences that sort of thing, to make sure that they can undo or move forward.
Yeah, there's always this here, Jason, where there is a workflow history.
Oh, nice. I didn't know that.
You can always go back to this, restore or clone to a new workflow.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, and then in V2, once they do that, I think sometime in January, the autosave feature will also be available. So how you were going to refresh that window without saving?
Yeah.
That should now become it shouldn't become a detrimental action where you didn't save all the work you were working on and we happen to refresh your browser window.
Thank you. Yeah, I feel like I keep saving duplicate versions of the workflows, every little step of progress I make, and then I end up with all these saved files. I'm like, there's got to be a better way than this.
So the way I handle that is using a 3-digit version numbering system. So all my workflows have a 3-digit workflow or versioning number. And the reason I use 3 numbers is, the first number is a major update. The second number is a kind of minor update. And the third number is a hot fix. If those terms mean anything to you in terms of how you manage feature upgrades to a certain file or a workflow, I always use a 3-digit versioning mechanism.
Thank you very much for sharing.
Yeah, so I always have a version number, especially when I'm working on bigger workflows. Especially, and also that helps when you're working in teams as well, right? So someone takes over version 1.01, and then they should be updating that to 1.02 or 1.1.0, whatever, however much upgrade that they're making to that workflow, and that helps because when you have a workflow open in n8n and someone else tries to access that, they are locked out of it until you get out of that workflow. So there's no like collaboration capability in n8n. So versioning is one mechanism, as well as hopefully branching in GitHub of some sort and saving, things like that.
Thank you.
All right. Good luck, Jason.
Thanks.
I mean, you've made good progress. It's just those little tweaks that needed to be made.
I agree.
All right, cool. Well, good luck. We'll see you next time. You say you have a hard stop, right?
I do. Yeah. I was just hoping that if anyone else had a question, I get to see how anyone else, what they might ask. I don't know.
No problem. So Alex, first off, can I ask where you're located?
Yes, I am located in Asheville, North Carolina.
Oh, cool. The other side. I'm here in Los Angeles. So, and I think Jason, you're in Minnesota.
I'm in Minneapolis.
Oh, Minneapolis. Yeah. I was close.
All right. So, see ya. Thank you.
Okay. See you, Jason. All right. Alex, you have some questions about n8n. Can I just also understand your progress with n8n and where you might be in your evolution?
Alex, there is no progress yet. I've set up a self-hosted instance of n8n. And I've been watching tutorials, attending meetings, and I'm just about to get into actually building something.
Great.
So I am thrilled that I have this bit of your time right now. So I'm a web developer. But
HTML, CSS.
Yes, I'm not a heavy JSON. I don't.
Okay.
I understand some JSON. I've worked with JSON doing integrations, which this is very similar to. So I know maybe just enough to be dangerous.
And by the way, I started similarly, where especially with n8n, because it's so JavaScript heavy with all the expressions and things. And that's where like the use of ChatGPT or Claude really has helped me understand these expressions and how it should be constructed. It's just time, right, and experience. And I have 3+ years on it now, so don't feel like especially with the ChatGPT and Claude available to us, like you should be able to bypass any issue as long as you understand how to solve that problem. Like you saw me with JSON, where hey, we need the JSON so that the AI can actually give you the right code or the expression within n8n.
Yes, yeah. So just getting started, I'll tell you, actually, first thing I should ask is, what are sources of good tutorials, templates, that sort of thing?
Yep, the best place to go is the n8n website, actually.
So their templates?
Yeah. Oops, n9n. Okay, that's great. And
do you ever flows? Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
So this is the best place to start outside of like YouTube where there's a lot of data there, but you know, unless you are more of a visual sort of person and need the walkthrough. But for me, like just to go find a workflow that has a tool or an application that I'm trying to integrate, that to me is the best starting point because someone's actually gone through, thought through it. If it's a custom API call that needs to be made, maybe they embedded that into the example workflow here. And you can now just go in and start sort of building versus like sitting through maybe, a certain video that may or may not be on target with what you're trying to build. So I use a combination of both.
Gotcha. Are there any like people on YouTube you think are good?
Yeah, Nate's great in terms of beginner education.
What was that?
Nate Herc. I'm sure you've seen Nate everywhere.
No, Nate.
the young Asian guy.
Nate. N8n.
Yeah, NATEHERK. Yeah, so Nate's great. Gosh, what's his other name? Anyway, once you start watching Nate's stuff, you're gonna get all kinds of n8n content because the YouTube algorithm will pick it up and start showing you stuff.
Yeah.
So,
anywhere else I should go to learn?
So I think those are the two best places. And if as you're learning, join us here on these calls because you have direct access to me for an hour. That's that's pretty valuable time because
yeah.
as you can see, you are only person here as of now, and I'm sure as the community continues to grow, we may have some other folks. But that's the whole purpose, is to be here for you guys and help you get through some of these hurdles as you're sort of building and learning the nuances of various nodes and how to sort of structure your workflows, right? Because that's one of the things that took me a long time to learn, is how to structure every workflow so that it's pretty much optimized and able to handle certain data. And one of the things you'll find that, especially as you get into larger workflows, memory management becomes an issue because the more data you load into an individual workflow, you have to be efficiently offloading memory even inside of that workflow so that it's not holding a ton of data while trying to process, because it will time out. That's stuff you'll learn over time, trust me.
Sure. Have you used or do you use Open Router?
I personally don't use that third-party service. I usually go directly to Anthropic, Perplexity, or OpenAI.
Okay.
Yeah, some people want to go through Open Router, but my preference is just to use the direct services, right? So for example, that OpenAI example I was showing Jason here with the built-in tools, you won't have that if you went through OpenAI or Open Router, right? There's certain features that you just won't get if you were to go directly to or through a third party like Open Router. Nothing wrong with that, but
Gotcha. So there'll be missing options.
Yeah. So for example, if I were to open up the Gemini node here, like all of this action available to you, I just don't think that'll come in from Open Router, right?
Oh, interesting.
I don't know if you have seen.
It would be an interesting way to be able to switch models and test flows with different models easily.
Yeah, so one of the ways you can do that now with the AI agent is there is a way to, where is it? One, you can enable a fallback model here.
Got it.
Where is the, oh, here it is, sorry. So you can now also add multiple models here. So let's say you are working on something where you need to test multiple models. You can actually add as many models as you want here. So in addition to the fallback model, let's say you are using Open Router and you want to test all the new trendy buzzword models that are coming out. you just add a bunch of these here, and the AI agent will now go and use a bunch of these, right?
Right.
So there's a lot of cool things built into AI agent, and they keep just continuing to improve it, right? So it's really cool.
So my second question, I have two big concerns with building these suckers. Security and privacy. I don't want my IP getting out. I don't want my client's IP getting out.
Sure.
What are you? So
Well,
what do you?
part of it is your self-hosting n8n. That's one way to keep it secure. There's also now the guardrails feature, which will help you filter out any sensitive data that you don't want going to the LLMs.
And is that just a node?
Yeah, it's a node. So if you click here and then put guardrails, you can now check for validation or violations and sanitize the text. So there's a lot of different features here that you can include, right? So if you wanted to filter out PII, personal data, it'll take some experimentation, but before you go to the AI node or AI agent here, let me zoom out.
But I'm not actually looking. I want to use that data. So for instance, I think the biggest concern for me is going to be with building an agent that's going to help me with brand strategy.
Sure.
So I need all that, and their important business information to work on that. I don't want to filter it out. I just want to make sure it doesn't get passed on to train, ChatGPT or whatever.
But you're using public data for that, aren't you? Especially if you're doing brand analysis. No,
I'm using like internal business strategies, that sort of thing.
I guess you could anonymize it before you hand it off to the LLM. Meaning, so if you put a guardrail and say, hey, any mention of company XYZ, filter that out, right? Because the strategy is the strategy. I mean, there are going to be similar strategies in the LLM. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Is anyone really going to come up with a truly, truly new strategy for a brand? Is it really that sensitive?
I would like it protected, and and my intellectual property I use to train the model.
Yeah,
I want that protected.
So, Alex, first of all, may I ask what kind of clients you're working with?
Small to medium-sized companies. I'm niching down to sustainable companies and nonprofits committed to sustainability.
Okay, so given that profile, especially nonprofits, right? Like, are they like sub 5 million, sub 1 million?
Yeah, or smaller.
Around there. So, given a nonprofit profile, is there really that much sensitive strategy and data that an LLM would already not know? So this is like a philosophical question.
Right. But
Right?
but my question is, how do I, regardless, is there a way? I know that, I have to choose certain models, like OpenAI, it's supposedly protect your info.
That's correct.
There are models that do not protect your info, and I'm aware of that.
Correct. So I believe OpenAI, Anthropic, Google, and Microsoft, because they're such large companies, right? And they're going to be under scrutiny. If their terms and services do not protect company data or sensitive data, then they're going to be in trouble. So my last check, especially of OpenAI and Anthropic's terms of services, especially for the API use, is that if you are sending data via the API, that is not used to train their models. Now, this is specific to the API. What does that mean? So that means in this example here, as we're using the OpenAI chat model, whatever data is being sent to this chat model here via the API, that data is not being used to train the LLM. So you already have some protection. But again, given the profile of a nonprofit, right? Now we go back to the philosophical question. Is there really, do you really have this, incredibly unique strategy for a nonprofit that hasn't already been thought about?
Yeah, possibly.
Okay, so if that is the case,
I don't
then-
want, I don't want someone to be able to go into ChatGPT and it spit out what I've worked a week on for someone else. You
Sure.
know, I mean, so
Mm,
does that make sense?
yes, absolutely. So let me go back to the idea that, like, for example, this JSON that we were just dealing with here. You now benefited from that interaction with ChatGPT, but that JSON that Jason put up in that chat session is now there somewhere, right? Can you pull it up directly? Maybe, maybe not, right? But I think you'd have to be very, very specific in saying, hey, go find, information about nonprofit XYZ that Alex Perry might have uploaded into the LLM. Like, I don't know if it'll be that easy to find. You know what I mean?
So, but so assuming I'm using the API,
Yeah.
what are the leak risks?
Again, as far as my last check of their terms and services, that information going via the API is not used to train their model.
I'm just, yeah, I hope we can trust that. I'm at the moment I'm trusting Anthropic most, but and Microsoft.
Yeah, I pretty much purely just use Anthropic, but given this new update with OpenAI, I might experiment with it a bit. But I personally, I don't think about that anymore. What you're concerned about right now, I just don't think what I'm working on, even with some of the client work, like it really truly. Someone probably has already thought about it, right? Because think about this, Alex. These LLMs have the entire knowledge of the internet at their, that's what they've used to train these models. And that's why I'm saying, if you have a nonprofit that's sub 5 million, sub 1 million, like, how unique is your strategy that you feel like you need to really protect it? Because once you put it up there, someone has to be very consciously looking for that and trying to find that strategy, or you know what I mean?
Well, and they might.
They might, but why? Why would they do that?
I mean, I can see somebody going to ChatGPT and saying, reverse engineer the brand strategy of the soap company, whatever, for me.
Yeah.
I mean, I can see that happening.
And people do that all the time. I do it. I go and say, hey, what,
So I don't want it to have what I created in its hands when someone asks, if that makes sense.
I don't. So when someone asks that question, right? So go and reverse engineering the brand strategy for company X, Y, and Z, right? From my understanding, the LLM is now going to look at its entire knowledge base to help you answer that question. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And it's going to pull from multiple sources, not just from one source.
Yeah. Okay. I'll keep looking into that. I'm just paranoid.
I think I understand that concern. Again, when I was early in the AI space and everyone's like oh, my information is getting leaked and all that stuff. Like, I guess I just got past that because I'm like, look, there's a ton of knowledge that these LLMs have access to. And in a way you're contributing to that knowledge base, but someone has to be very consciously and maliciously looking for your very specific inputs to that LLM to be attacking you.
Yeah. What about my other concern is sustainability with this stuff, because I'm sustainability obsessed. Are there any of the lighter models that you've used and really liked?
So if you truly want to protect yourself, you'd want to install Ollama on your machine, right? And use a open source LLM. So for example, OpenAI has 2 versions of their open source LLM. And I believe from my last check, those open source LLM or those models were similar to ChatGPT 3.5, I believe, or 4.0, somewhere around there. Okay. So what you can do is install Ollama, install those models, right? And have those models work with your data. And what that means is your data is never going to the public LLMs like GPT 5.1 or Sonnet 4.5 or Opus 4.5, That's the true way. You never are going to publicly access or input any data that you don't want out there.
So you're saying specifically using the open source?
Yeah, so Ollama is one of the best ways to access these open source models, right? So
Okay.
Meta has Llama, right?
I
OpenAI.
don't know anything about Llama.
Okay, so there are a slew of open source models that you can install using Ollama. And from my understanding, OpenAI's 2 open source models are the best. I believe Meta's is pretty good, but they're larger models. You're just not going to be able to run on like a desktop or a laptop. So the larger file size of these models, the harder it is going to be to run them.
So, and you're saying the only option for using Llama is on your physical computer?
I believe you can install it like on a Linux somewhere, but I personally have not done that. Like I just run it on my Mac Mini that I have, which runs an M3 chip, and it's pretty good.
Gotcha. So I'd have to be on my physical machine, not in my server.
I think again, I think you can. I just never have done that. I just because you're gonna have poor performance, right?
With my computer, yes.
No, not only the computer, but the model itself. These are like, so you're comfortable using 4.5, right? Sonnet and Opus and GPT 5.1, and you expect certain results and performance from these models. But once you go to the open source model, now you're like maybe four versions back.
Gotcha.
Without all the data, like you're just not going to get the same performance. So what you're giving up in performance for privacy and some concerns, you're going to have to weigh those.
What about the sustainability question? Because there's these lightweight models. They supposedly use less data and that sort of thing. Do you have any experience working with those?
I don't, because again, like they don't perform the same way. I just wouldn't. I used Ollama for a certain data output that I was looking to create. It was just a lot of volume. And so I didn't want to waste the money to pay for the LLMs to generate that volume. And I tweaked the prompt and the system enough that I was happy with the outputs, but it's just going to take a lot more work. And it's going to be very specific to a single task that you're using that LLM for, the open source one.
Yeah, I'm hoping.
What are you trying to do, by the way? What is it that you're trying to protect?
Oh, I'm there. I'm here. I'm just talking about sustainability, using less data.
Like data or power?
Data and power, yeah, server
Yeah.
power. You know, they've got these lightweight models, but I've never tried any of them. But I'll be doing that. And
They still take up a ton of.
I'm thinking maybe there are like some tasks I have for a flow are simple enough that maybe I can use the lightweight one and, reduce a little bit.
The machines you would use to run the lightweight models, it's still taking up a lot of power, right?
Well, I'm using a, cloud hosted n8n. I'm not physical yet. I'd like to get there.
Really?
I would love to have my own servers. That would make me feel more secure. But yeah, I know it uses a lot of power, and so my goal is going to be to make these things as lean as possible. Hopefully I can do that.
Well, look, like, I personally host on Hetzner, and I don't know, my usage and contribution to that is pretty lightweight.
Are there any nodes that will actually measure the data use, the impact of the flow?
Oh, that's a good question. I don't think so. Your use case is very unique. I haven't run across this concern. I actually don't have any answers for you on that. Maybe you can post it up on the n8n community site, where I know that a lot of the n8n folks are monitoring and making sure that they're properly responding to that.
Yeah.
Because again, it's a good concern. I personally haven't spent too much time thinking through that. But if you're on a cloud server somewhere, you're now part of that infrastructure, however much data and energy that they are using. And, unless you've got like 10 racks, in that data warehouse, right? Or that data center, your one virtual private server isn't using that much data and energy. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it's mostly the models.
It's the models where, hey, look, to someone who has 10, let's say 100 server racks in a data center, and you can optimize those by 10%, that's a big impact, right? Right. Those are the kinds of impacts. But, you're now talking about, well, if we optimize the workflow to, say, spend 1 minute instead of 3 minutes, that's now a 66% optimization. So a small improvement, but some improvement, right?
Yeah.
And that's kind of what you're talking about.
Right.
Yeah. That makes sense. And I think people probably building these workflows aren't thinking through that, but maybe more in the perspective of, well, I don't want to wait 5 minutes for my workflow to process. How do I get this thing to run in 2 minutes? It's more like, it's more a time thing versus a sustainability thing from their perspective.
Efficient.
So the other thing you can think about is in the settings for every workflow, there is a time saved input here. So if you know that by executing this workflow, you've saved someone 10 minutes, that data is now captured in your dashboard in the n8n instance. And you can see, hey, because this workflow ran 100 times, you've now just saved this business 500 minutes. That's not a sustainability thing. It's more of like, what's your ROI by using n8n? But maybe it's a data set that you can somehow.
Yeah, I didn't know you could do that. That's cool.
Yeah, so maybe somehow you can leverage that in your sustainability perspective and conversation, and build that into how you approach your nonprofits and existing clients to say, hey, right now, if I build this workflow for you, I know I can save you 30 minutes of your life, right? And by doing so, that turns into real dollars for your business. And now we're going to monitor that savings over a year. And you're going to see real value in using n8n. But my next goal for you is to say, shrink this down to 30, 45 minutes somehow because we've done X, Y, and Z. So it becomes a multifunctional tool just by adding in this little piece of data. That makes sense?
Yes.
So from your angle, the sustainability angle, again, I think there's some things you could do in positioning it so that it adds the value that you bring.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah.
Do you ever use the, this is my last question, I promise.
No problem.
There are flows, n8n flows that are basically text to flow models. You just tell them what you want and they build the n8n model for you. Do you ever use those?
Yep, I have. So if I go back out, and I show you a workflow that I built using the AI builder. That's what you're talking about. So when you go to create a workflow, you now have this build with AI function, right? So if I go in here, there's a bunch of example ones where if I click on one of these, it'll start building the workflow for me. But what I want to show you is an actual workflow that I built, and it is this one. What this was for an example application that we were building where it's a goal, personal goal tracker. And so it's a Next.js app where you can add in goals and track goals, progress, etc. And what this AI agent is doing is when someone clicks on generate goals from the website or the app, it will trigger this workflow, create a bunch of goals for them, and then post that back into the database so that it will surface on the app. Okay. So this entire workflow here that you're seeing was built using the AI builder.
And is that, have you ever, that's a new feature, right?
It's fairly new, yeah, maybe a month and a half. So
yeah, because I know some people have actually built, and they're in the templates, built n8n flows that generate a flow for you. But
yeah, me. I built a few versions.
Did I see you on YouTube with that?
Yeah. So I did build it.
Maybe that's how I found you. Was that
okay? I've attempted several versions of that before n8n introduced theirs, and yeah, there's some glitches in that whole process, but I'm fairly happy with this AI builder. And again, the reason I was able to get such a nice single shot, this was single shot, no additional prompting, was because I had my data model already in place because of the app, right? I had to build my database and the schema and the data model, as well as the, product requirements document, the PRD, of what the n8n workflow should do and what it should output. So the data model of the input and the output, plus the function of the workflow, was my prompt to this AI builder. So I basically built an incredible context window for this AI builder so that I knew exactly what it needed to build, and it built it for me in single shot. I was quite impressed with what it did.
Does it do well with simple text instructions?
You're going to have to do several sort of, iterations and actual chat interactions with the chat builder or the AI builder. So the more context you can provide it, the better.
Always.
Always, exactly. So, I mean, before you add it to the AI builder, I would actually go and spend some time with Claude or ChatGPT and say, hey, this is what I want to build. Help me put together the data model and the prompt so that the AI builder and n8n can build it for me. You'll be quite impressed with that extra step, all right, to take before you give it to the AI builder, because the AI builder in n8n has a very small context window compared to some of the tools that we're more familiar with.
Gotcha.
So it will choke.
Awesome. Okay.
Yeah. All right. Well, Alex, good luck.
Thank you. I'm excited to dig in.
Yeah, you probably had some specific n8n questions, and maybe we can address that next week once you play around with things a bit.
Yes, I will
Yeah.
have more questions. I
Yeah,
promise.
hopefully we'll see you next week. So,
Thank you so much.
all right, Alex, good luck. We'll see you next week. Thanks.
Yeah.
Bye.